Hello, my Mahjong friends. Welcome to our weekly Mahjong clinic. In this clinic, we're reviewing basics, sharing tips and strategies all about Mahjong as I demonstrate using on ilovemahj. In this video, we're learning all about calling tiles and timing. I'm so glad you're here. Type in the comments below or email me any questions you have. I'll be sure to answer. Again, we'll be playing on ilovemahj after the topic. Please put any comments in as you watch me play on ilovemahj if you would have done anything different. We all learn together and we grow to become better players. We're always looking for our Mahjong friends across the United States. We're still searching for our friends in New Mexico, Alaska, and Hawaii. So if you're one of those friends in that state, so put it in the comments below so that we can be sure to update our list of friends all over the United States. Now let's look at our topic as we learn together. The basics about calling. When you call a tile, there are 4 steps that you need to follow. And I came up with the acronym SEED, C-E-E-D. So it's call, expose, exchange, discard. So you're going to verbally call for a tile, and you're going to pick up that called tile and place it on top of your rack and put out the additional tiles for the exposure. Since it's your turn, you can choose to exchange a natural tile that you have in your hand with an exposed joker on someone else's rack or your very own rack. And you can do as many as you have the natural tile for in one turn. Once you complete the exchange, the jokers go in your rack. Then you discard, and the exposure cannot be changed. The exposure can only be changed prior to discarding, meaning you can add or subtract a tile. Once you discard, to end your turn, the person to your right goes and picks from the wall. This might skip a player or two. It always goes to the right of the caller. So be sure to learn the 4 steps in calling a tile, SEED, C-E-E-D. Let's talk about questions about exposures. So who can call for an exposure? Any player can call once a tile is discarded. Not just the player next in turn. It can be out of turn. Who gets the called tile? If there's multiple people calling for a tile. So here's some scenarios. When there is a simultaneous rack and call, the tile goes to the player who called. If more than one player calls for the same tile, it'll be next in turn gets it. If the tile is called for Mahjong, that person gets it over the person who's calling it for an exposure. If 2 people call it for Mahjong, it's next in turn. The exception to the next in line rule is if the other player started to expose tiles from their hand to claim the discard. I always say a good habit is always to place the discarded tile on top of the rack and then bring up the additional tiles from your rack. What tiles can be called for an exposure? It is the only most recent tile that has been discarded can be called for an exposure. Once a tile is discarded, any player who has 2 to 4 tiles can call for that discarded tile and that it matches. They can take the discarded tile for an exposure. If the player is playing a concealed hand with a C next to it, you cannot take the discarded tile from the table. The discarded tile will complete your Pung, 3 of a kind of the same number, same suit, your Kong, 4 of a kind, same number, same suit, or Quint, 5 of a kind, same number, same suit. This would also mean for the winds or dragons or flowers. Once you place the called tile, this is the required grouping for your chosen line on the National Mahjong League card. Remember, you can only call a tile for an exposure. That's a hand with an X next to it on the card. You can't call a tile for a single, a group of singles, or pairs, for example, only for Mahjong. You can't make changes to the exposed tiles once you discard. You can only call your final tile for Mahjong. All previous discards are dead. You cannot use them for the rest of the game. When can you call a tile? When the desired tile is discarded and before the next tile is racked by the next player, any player, again, who has 2, 3, or 4 tiles that match the discarded tile may call for the pung, kong, or quint of any kind to complete their grouping of identical tiles. Or if it's your final tile needed for Mahjong, it can be called for that missing tile. Whether you're playing an exposed or concealed hand, the final tile may be called, whether it's a pair or a single or a group of singles. When does the discarded tile become dead? When the next player picks a tile from the wall and racks it in their sloping part of their rack, that tile is considered dead. Or if somebody immediately picks from the wall and discards, the previous tile is considered dead. When are you committed to taking the called tile? A player is committed to using a discarded tile when they place it on the flat part of the rack or they expose tiles from their hand. They're committed to taking the called tile. Just by simply saying you want it or looking at it does not mean that it is yours yet until you place it on the flat part of your rack or bring up additional tiles. Where is the exposure placed? Placing the called tile on top of your rack first and add the additional tiles to complete the exposures. Table to top. No, please do not put it in your rack. You're showing everybody the grouping. You're proving that you can take the discarded tile. You do not need to place the exposures in the correct order. Place the new exposure to the left side, not where it belongs. You do not need to display in the correct order. Your opponents will be able to figure out your hand easier. Also, if the hand goes dead, you'll know what exposures were up prior, so you can do joker exchanges on those. Why can't I draw a tile from the wall? If you call for an exposure, this is your turn. You do not draw a new tile because the tile you took, again, counts as your turn. You should always have 13 tiles in your hand or 14 when it's your turn, and then you discard your back to 13. Why can't I change my exposure? You can only make adjustments, meaning adding to or taking away from your exposure when you put up the exposure, when you have called for the tile, if you have not discarded yet. So it's a small window when you can make changes. You can never have exposure adjustments during the game. Your exposure is locked once you discard and will be part of your chosen line on the card. How to call for a tile. One of the most important things is while play is going on, it is fast paced and you should verbalize, call, or say, I want that. Just don't moan or grunt or say, You must use the word call or say, I want it, or I need that, or stop, or pause. When the discarded tile is discarded before the next player goes and racks their tile. Let's talk about exposures. What is an invalid exposure? Those that you cannot call. So if a tile goes out, a single that you need, or a pair, or groups of singles, you cannot call for them. Tiles for a concealed hand, you cannot call for those groupings. The only exception is the last tile for Mahjong for single, pair, a grouping of pairs. If it's an exposure or a concealed hand, you may call for Mahjong. Should you even expose? If you pick the tile yourself from the wall, this might offer a more opportunity rather than exposing. Exposing is giving your opponents insight to your hand. So it might be even better not to expose and to wait. You might pick it from the wall, and you also might get a joker that will help you build that grouping. You should watch your discards. Make sure tiles are not out, especially keeping in mind your pairs or your singles or your group of singles. Watch and count. A quick question to ask yourself: how many tiles of the tile of interest have been discarded already? And keep a count. Watch the exposures. Make sure tiles are not out, especially keeping in mind your pairs or your singles. Watch and count, especially your pairs, groups of singles, or your singles. Watch and count what's been exposed. Finally, jokers. A person can use multiple jokers in an exposure, but is it always wise? You may use any amount of jokers in groups of 3 or more identical tiles. They can be made up of all jokers. Of course, you're not exposing all jokers. Try to use only one joker per exposure. Keep jokers separated until they can fill a specific need. Use jokers as placeholders or indicators when one tile goes out so you can keep track of the discards. So it helps you so you know you have to call the next one. Or you can turn a tile upside down to indicate a tile has gone out. If you use jokers early, this might leave you unable to call for other needed tiles as they are discarded because you've already used your joker. Only call if it's a must, meaning it's the last tile of that grouping. Another thing to consider is whether the joker is exchangeable when exposed. This might give your opponents an advantage or may be giving them Mahjong. Ask the question: have all those tiles been discarded? Exposures with jokers. Save them for later in the game. Using jokers only in the game strips your hand of the strength, meaning the jokers. You may not be able to make other exposures to complete the combinations without those chosen jokers that you've used already. Use jokers to their maximum potential. Deciding when to call. Timing is everything. When should you call? Don't rush to expose. Keep your options open. Don't call too early. You might pick the tiles you need, or someone might expose them and you might need to change your hand. Don't lock yourself into a hand until maybe you have 7 or 8 tiles towards that specific hand. Don't lock yourself into a hand. When you call, that's usually what you do. You lock yourself into hand. I say try not to call until you have about 7 or 8 tiles towards that hand. Maybe the grouping that you're calling for will work for more than one hand. That's a great way to call and be ready to switch hands if you need to. You want your hand to remain a secret and have flexibility. Keep other players in the dark about your hand. When you think your joker is safe, meaning not vulnerable for being able to exchange, call the grouping, keeping it safe from exchangeability. You don't want to give your opponents an advantage. Early melding of jokers lets others redeem them. Once you have an exposure, it limits your opportunities. It narrows the opportunities to only the hand you are building, and there are a lot of other good available tiles to draw from the wall. And by not melding your tiles too early, you will maybe develop a better hand. So be patient. Don't want to be locked into a hand until you're sure you can get the other components of that hand. Do not hesitate if there's no gaps and you are ready and set to call for each grouping. If you need a pung and you have one natural tile and a joker in your hand, don't pick up the first natural tile discarded. Save the jokers for the kongs, which is a great tip. Here's another example. If it's the last tile of the group, if you needed a pung, you don't have to call the first one. You can call later on and use the joker or even get it from the wall. One stipulation, if you need pairs or singles, expose that joker with the pung or the kong. The closer you get to being able to call the single or the second half of the pair, it's better off you are. Revealing information and create opportunities for your opponents. Putting up pungs and kongs once you call for them, and putting up jokers, they're out for your opponents to grab. Let one tile go or two. Use jokers for you and not for the opponent's ability to exchange. You don't want to waste a joker nor give your opponents a gift. Once you start exposing, your opponents also can learn about your hand, and the more exposures you have up, the more they'll figure out your hand. And then they'll hold the tiles to not give you mahjong. Your discards will also give him information, and between the two are getting a good read of your hand. I like to play the hand as if it's concealed and only expose when I must. It must be a must. Don't take the discard unless you have a clear plan for your hand and that particular discard advances you closer to a win. If you're saying to yourself, I don't even know what hand I'm playing, but I can make this pung, please don't call. That's not a good idea, because now you have to fit that pung into a specific line. So be sure to only call when you need it and to make sure that you're 7 or 8 tiles into the hand already. When you call for tiles, things to think about. You lose out on the opportunity to pick from the wall. What tile would the wall offer? Maybe it would be that tile or a joker. Be aware of the reasons why you should not call and make the right choice. Could you be giving away your hand if you expose, or the opportunity for your opponents to do a joker exchange? Don't let your opponent bait you. Often your opponent tries to bait by discarding one tile, you call it with a joker, and then next turn they exchange it with their second tile that they have of that grouping. So maybe let the opponent throw out one and then you call for the next one when they discard it. Let's talk about flowers. Keep your eye on flowers. Remember, there are 8 of them. It's not necessary to call for flowers using jokers. Exposing flowers, you want to keep track of them by counting. Wait until you must call. You have a greater chance of picking one yourself from the wall or using a joker. Don't call too early in the game. People hold on to flowers and they'll do jokers exchanges. Exposing your hand with a pung, kong, or quint of flowers reveals your hand greatly to your opponent. Don't be anxious to call flowers to expose. Keep count. Let 1 or 2 go. Wait when you must call. You have a greater chance, again, of picking a flower yourself. The end game and calling. Towards the end of the game, I see a lot of people call for groupings. Stop calling for tiles. Make sure at the end game you just don't call to be in the game. And expose jokers that can be exchangeable. By calling and exposing, this could secure your opponent's win. So play defense and discard the jokers rather than call, especially if you're very far away from Mahjong. You have to ask yourself, what's the likelihood that you're going to win? Where are you on the wall? How many turns do you have left? Once you call and put out jokers, now they are exchangeable jokers for your opponent and they could win the game, especially if the tile hasn't been discarded and someone else is holding them for a redemption. Every time somebody calls for something, someone else gets an extra pick. You could also be helping your opponents to get their tiles from the wall. It changes where people are picking. Be sure to throw a safe discard, which is the joker. Reminders, and this is huge, people often forget this. Discarded tile cannot be picked up to be used for a joker exchange. A discarded tile can never be called by a player to exchange for a joker. A discarded joker may never be called for an exposure for Mahjong. You can call any tile except a joker for an exposure to complete a pung, kong, or quint on a hand with an X next to it, meaning exposed. Always remember, a tile for a single, a grouping of singles, or a pair can only be called for Mahjong, never for an exposure. It's important to make wise choices as to when and what tiles to call. It's beneficial to call tiles when your hand is set, meaning that you have your tiles grouped to make it easy to call and make exposures that you have part of each grouping in your hand to be completed by either a draw or a discard. When you're ready, ready means when you only need one tile to complete your hand is said to be ready. Form your pure groupings before doing anything else. A player may only claim a discard at the time the tile is discarded, and prior discards are dead tiles. Once the next player racks their picked tile from the wall, the prior discard is no longer available. From what I've seen, calling is more about being set than it is about the walls. If you aren't sure what hand you're playing, you shouldn't be calling. So I hope these tips, tricks, or strategies will help you in your next Mahjong game about calling tiles. If you need a review of anything, please reach out to me by email at mahjongclass@yahoo.com, and I'd be happy to assist you in any further information you might need about calling a tile. Please consider becoming a channel member. I have lots of people who have joined the Mah Jongg Class YouTube channel by making a small monetary donation, which helps me continue to build the community and give you free educational information about Mahjong. There are 3 levels to choose from. Click join on the home page and it will describe each of the levels. Please consider joining Mah Jongg Class YouTube channel with your other Mahjong enthusiasts. Thank you. Head on over to Oh My Mahjong if you're interested in buying yourself a new set, a mat, a travel set, or a pool float set. They have lots of great things there. You can check them out. Put in the discount code at checkout, Mah Jongg Class, and receive 10% off. Be sure to connect with me and click subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, give me thumbs up for videos that you enjoy the content, share with your fellow Mahjong players so we all learn and grow as Mahjong players, and put comments below for any topics you're interested in or anything you would like to share about your Mahjong. It means the world to me that you're here watching my videos and showing up each week to show your love and support of the Mah Jongg Class channel. I'm so happy you're here and supporting me. Thank you again. We're going to head over to ilovemahj and play a few games and talk about some of the decisions in calling. I'll try my best to review some of the things we discussed already today, and you can also try on ilovemahj for 21 days. If you use the code CB when you register, you'll get free 21-day trial versus the traditional 14 days. If you'd like an annual membership, it's $5 a month or $60 a year. Let's head on over to ilovemahj. Go to Play, Game Launch, Play with Bots, Official Game, choose your level. I like to play Advanced. You could pick Standard or Intermediate. Launch Game. We're not open to live players. Choose your card. Make sure you choose your level. I have our timer off just so that I can have time to talk to you. And today I choose the theme Out of the Blue for summer. And you can choose classic tiles or large tiles.
First Charleston.
Sort by suit. Look for your pairs. We have pairs of 3s, pairs of 5s, more 5s, 1s, and 3s. Looks like we're playing in 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So let's get rid of the 6. I'm going to play the lower numbers so we can get rid of the 9. And let's get rid of a north. Keeping the lower numbers. We can get rid of a west and east, and now we have to decide what hand we would like to play. I'm thinking we should try the bottom hand. We can play 1, 3, 5. It's with 3s, however, not 5s. Let's get rid of this 5. I'm looking at line number 7 in the concealed hand. A west, a 7, and an 8. Let's continue.
Second Charleston.
We're going to get a 9, a 4, and a red. A 9, an east, and a... Ooh, here's a green. Maybe we should move up and play line number 3. It's 1, 3, 5 with matching dragon. Let's get rid of the 1. We pulled another green. Let's get rid of the 5.
Courtesy pass.
And we pulled one more green. So it's looking like we're playing line number 3. Originally I was thinking line number 7, but we never pulled any more 3s. So let's move to line number 3. 2 flowers, pair of 1s. We do need 2 pairs. We have our 3s. We need one more. We need one more 5, and we have our green. Let's do 3 tiles. I'm going to keep the 3 in case we need to move to that hand. We didn't pull anything additional, so we can start. We are east. We have 14 tiles. We're going to discard.
9 dot. 9 crack.
And east just means that we're the person starting the game.
So 8 dot. Red. 1 dot. 8 crack. Call. 8 dot.
Remember, for a joker exchange, the 8 crack.
7 crack. 7 dot. 6 bam. South. 8 bam. 9 crack. North. 9 bam. South. 7 bam. 9 crack. 9 dot. 2 dot. 4 dot.
I'm ready to call for my 3s and I'm ready to call for my 5s. So if that does go out, I will call for it.
North.
Because I'm already in a sure hand.
9 dot. 4 bam. 8 dot. 9 bam. 4 dot. 7 dot. 5 dot. 4 dot.
Remember the joker exchange?
Joker swap. 2 bam. Call. 5 crack.
And we can use this with the 3 or the 5s.
Call. 4 crack.
Oh, 5 and 2 over there.
North. 7 dot. 4 bam. 5 bam.
Gonna call for a conch.
Call. 1 dot. 9 dot. Joker swap. 1 crack. 1 crack. 7 crack. Call. 2 crack.
Oh, Kurt probably has maybe 6, 7, 8 or 7, 8, 9 with 2 flowers.
West. 8 bam. 1 crack. 3 dot.
My 1 hasn't gone out yet.
4 crack. 7 dot. 1 dot. 9 bam. 6 bam. 7 bam. 2 dot. 2 dot.
We don't need the 5
5 dot. 1 crack. 8 dot.
I bet you Annie has my 1 bams.
7 bam. 8 bam. 8 bam. Soap. 3 dot. 3 dot. Joker swap. 4 dot. 6 bam. 3 dot.
We could try to change this hand. I don't think we can, because if we're doing consecutive run line number 5, we only needed 3 5s. That's the problem with calling early like that. A 4 bam. I'm gonna have to let that
4
go.
4 bam. 3 bam.
We don't need it. We have a joker.
4 crack. 2 crack.
We got our flower. Now we're on point to call for the 1 bam. I'm going to let green go to not give information into my hand that I'm waiting for my final tile.
Green. 1 bam. 6 crack. 3 bam.
And I just missed my Mahjong tile because I was so worried about all the other tiles.
So
maybe they'll do another
red.
1 bam.
1 bam.
There you go. Now I can call Mahjong.
Mahjong.
One thing I notice when I play online, it's very click happy when I'm clicking. So I just need to slow down and maybe pay more attention. But we did end up winning on 13579 on line number 3, which is 2 flowers. The number is 135, pair Pung Kong with a Pung of dragons. Let's check everybody else out so we can learn some more hands. We have Kurt, who played consecutive run on line number 7, which is Pung, Pung, Kong, Kong in 2 different suits. Before you read these lines, try to look at the hands and try to identify what category they're in and then which hand. This is any like numbers, line number 3, 2 flowers, a Kong of 2 cracks, news, and a Kong of 2 bams. Amstead's playing East and West with 2 different numbers and 2 different suits consecutive, so it's 5, 6 with East and West. On to the next game.
First Charleston.
Sort by suit. Look for your pairs. We have none. Then look for some relationship to the tiles. We can play 2, 4, 6, 8. We can play 6, 7, 8, 9, 7, 9. Let's get rid of the 1, the north, and I think I'm going to get rid of the white. Let's see what we get. We got a 2 and a 5, the south, the 2 and the 5. Maybe I'll keep the 2 for 2, 4, 6, 8 and get rid of the 7. The west, the 1. I think we'll stay true to 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's get rid of the 9. We'll do the 9 dot. We'll continue.
Second Charleston.
The 3, the 5, and we want the 8, so I guess the 7 or the 9. Let's do the 7. The 9, and the 1, and you can always sort by suit again, so you can see what you have. We got a west, a 9, and a 3.
Courtesy pass.
And we're on our final cross, so sort by suit again. We don't need the 7 or the 5. Maybe we can get rid of the 2 here. Let's get rid of 3. The 2, the 5, and the 7.
9 crack.
We picked up a 4 and a 6. Sort by suit again. And know our next discard. Prioritize your discards, and we're going to get rid of the 1.
5 dot. Soap.
I don't have a
1
hand
crack.
picked out. Here's
8
my
dot.
new pair.
7 dot. 3 bam. 9 crack. 9 dot. 1 crack. North.
I really didn't get any
9
information
bam.
about the cards
9
being
crack.
passed around in the Charleston.
6 bam. Flower.
I'm ignoring everything because I'm not ready to call yet. 2, 4, 6, 8 maybe. Let's get rid of the 6.
6 dot. 7 crack. Flower. 1 bam. 7 bam. 5
There's
crack.
also a hand 2, 4, 4, 6, and 8.
2 bam. 8 bam.
I will move a joker over. In an in-person game, I would have turned the 8 bam upside down. Let's get rid of the 4.
4 bam. 9 bam. 3 bam. West.
Let's get rid of the 2.
2 crack. Call. Red.
Oh, that was a good choice.
Flower. East. 7 crack. 5 crack. Call. West.
Don't miss out on the 2 and the 5. Let's get rid of an 8 bam already went out, so I'm thinking let's get rid of this 8 dot.
8 dot. Red. 9 dot. 9 bam. 9 dot. 2 dot.
Okay, there's the first 2. We can ignore it.
8 dot.
We don't need the 8.
5 dot.
Red.
Red. 1 crack. 7 bam. 3 bam.
An 8 dot.
8 dot. 7 dot. Green. 8 crack.
4 dot. So if we play pung, pung, kong, kong, that would be the best way to play. Let's get rid of this 6.
6 bam. 1 dot. Green. Joker swap. 4 crack.
We're not ready to call for anything there.
West.
Looking for a
9
5
bam.
crack. The 2 cracks already been exchanged.
9 dot. 2 bam.
East.
7 bam. 8 crack.
Okay, let's see if we can set ourselves up. We can call for the pung. We already have a pung. We can't call for the quint yet. We could play at 4 and 6. I'm looking at line number 2. It would be pair, 4, 4, 6. That would be 2 pairs. I don't want to play that. That's too hard. We could call for the 8, but then we're not ready to call for the 6, and that might push somebody to put the 6 out. Let's ignore it.
1 bam. Red. 1 bam. 6 dot. 1 crack.
4 dot. I don't think there's any hand that we can play. Oh, 4 times 6 is 24. Or 6 times 8. 4 times 6 is 24. We don't have the right numbers for that. We need the 2 and the 4 in bams. And I think that's out. 2 2 bams are out. 1 4 bam. Let's get rid of the 8 bam.
8 bam. West. 6 dot. 1 bam.
6 bam. We need a 2 and a 4. We don't need this 6.
8 bam. Green. 2 bam. Flower.
That's the third 2
Call.
bam to go out.
East. 4 bam. So.
Second 4 bam to go out.
6 bam. 6 dot.
But we would need a bunch
7
of
crack.
flowers, and all the flowers over here. I don't think we're playing that hand.
Green.
7.
7 crack. 5 dot. 7 dot. North. Call. So. Mah Jongg.
This just never came together for us because we needed some 2 dots and some more 8s and 6s. Bummer. Okay, congrats to Kurt. He won low odds, pung, pung, kong, kong, line number 2. Very nice. Annie was playing Wind and Dragons, line number 3, north and south with opposite suits, consecutive rung of Kong, so 4, 5. Amsa was playing 4 flowers, 2 and 2 4, which is 2024 line number 2. So he had our other 2 that we were looking for. And here's our 2 dot over here. It's funny how they can hold on. They don't even know what hand I'm playing, but I guess because it's not discarded that they're holding on to it. And those are the advanced spots for you. Let's try our next game.
First Charleston.
Sort by suit. Well, we have 2 souths, and that's it. Let's play maybe a wind hand with some dragons. So let's get rid of a 7, a 5, and a 4. We'll keep these 3s. A 9, a 1, and a 7. A 4, a 3, and a 3. Let's sort by suit so we can get our things here in numbers. We'll continue because I'm looking at line 6. You only need news. We don't need this south, and we have a 4 and a 9 we can get rid of. Elsewhere, I think that's a good choice.
Second
Let's continue.
Charleston.
We'll push ourselves ahead. We do need some flowers. Looking for some dragons. 3s came back.
Courtesy pass.
And we have 3 to pass.
So.
Well, we picked up another south, but we don't really need it. Let's ignore that.
7 bam.
Not ready to call.
6 bam. Soap. 5 dot.
So it doesn't look like we're playing
6
with soaps.
5 dot. 2 bam. 4 bam. 8 crack. 7 bam. 5 bam.
Probably playing red and green.
4 crack. West. 3 dot.
We need some
6
flowers
dot.
or some jokers.
2 dot.
I guess we need 2 flowers.
4 bam. 7 crack. 3 dot. 6 crack. 2 crack. 6 dot. 4 crack. 3 crack. 9 dot. 1 dot. 1 dot. 5 bam. 8 bam. 4 bam.
Picked up
So.
some more souths.
2 dot.
I don't think
3 crack.
we're obviously not playing with the white, so let's get rid of that.
So. North.
Now, here's the thing. If we don't get our 2 flowers, we have to switch hands. I'm not calling for that yet. We're not
Flower.
halfway through yet.
Call. 3 dot.
Oh, we might have a hard time with the flowers.
7 bam. 6 dot. 7 crack. 1 dot.
We might be changing our hand here. We have a bunch of jokers. We can start calling for things if we play a winds hand. Or we could still play the dragon hand. Now we have to use these jokers. But we still need all flowers. This is tough. Let's get rid of this. Let's hope for some flowers because we do have
South.
all the jokers
5 bam.
with the dragons. We don't need any more dragons.
1 bam.
So
North.
let's hope for some flowers. This
9
is
crack.
crazy
5 bam.
to get flowers.
bam.
There are 8, 3 of which are
Joker
out.
swap.
Oh,
3
4 are
dot.
out.
2 bam.
Be nice if we could
6
just get
bam.
1 and then we'll be on call for
9 dot.
Mahjong.
1 crack. 2 crack. Flower.
That's
6
5.
crack. 4 dot. 7 bam. 2 bam. 2 crack. 4 dot. 2 dot. 4 dot. South. 7 dot. Call. 4 dot. 2 dot. 9 dot. 9 bam. Call. 8 crack.
Oh
6
boy,
crack.
everybody's out.
7 crack. Flower.
That's 6.
9 crack.
Do we think
4
somebody
crack.
else is playing?
6 bam. 6 bam. 9 dot. 1 crack.
It's tough when you need
8 dot. Call.
2
5 crack.
flowers. Oh, he's probably got 2 flowers up there.
Mah Jongg.
Oh no, he didn't have east and west with a run. Here's the other 2 flowers. Okay, so congratulations to Kurt for flowers. 3 times 5 is 15. Very nice. And Annie was playing east and west with 8, 9. Amsa was playing 2 flowers, 7, 8, 9 in consecutive run. Nice. And I wanted to play with 2 flowers, but we never got it, and that's why you need to have at least one part of the pair to be able to win. So this was tough, but we never called for anything, so we could always change our hand, although we were getting very close to the end. Let's look at the leaderboard. So Kurt's in the lead. He won 2 games. I won 1, and Annie has thrown the tile twice, so she's negative. Okay, we'll play one more game.
First Charleston.
Sort by suit. We have 3s, 9s. Let's play 3, 6, 9. Let's get rid of the 1, the 7, and a south. The 8, a south, and a 7. Wow, 7s are going around. And a north. Let's continue.
Charleston stopped. Courtesy pass.
Annie stopped the Charleston. We have 3 to pass. We don't have to do it with Annie, but I'll do it. 2, 7, 4. Only 2.
6 crack.
We did not pick up anything.
8 dot. Flower.
We can look. I'm not ready to call yet. Let's ignore.
7 dot. 1 crack. 5 bam. Soap. 2 crack. 7 bam.
Not ready to pick a hand, so I can
1
keep
crack.
going. I'm not going to
5
call for
crack.
anything. I'm just going to be
7
mindful
crack.
of what's being discarded.
3 dot. 4 crack. 6 dot.
There's a 3 dot and a 6 crack, and now another 6 dot.
8 bam. East. 2 dot.
Letting
4
my
crack.
hand develop.
South. 5 crack. 4 dot. West. South. Call. 7 crack.
This is coming in for us. Line
2
number
bam.
6.
3 crack. West. 6 crack. 8 dot. 3 dot. 2 crack. 1 bam. East. Flower.
I think I'm going to go ahead and call for that. It's only the second flower. Let's do it.
Call. 6 dot.
Because I have
7
3, 6, 9
bam.
with opposite dragon.
West. 1 crack. 7 crack. 8 dot. 7 dot. 1 bam. 3 crack. 5 bam. 7 dot. 8 dot. 1 dot. Call. 2 bam. Call. Green.
Oh, everybody's got something out.
8 crack. Call. Soap.
Oh, I need that
4
soap.
crack. 9 crack. 5 dot. Mah Jongg.
Oh boy, that was fast, Annie. And if you remember, she was the one who stopped the Charleston. Good for her. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Line number 1. First part. She has her 2 pairs. And very nice. 4 jokers. Good for her. Wow. Let's look at Kurt's hand. He was playing consecutive run. Line number 2. 1, 2, opposite dragon. 3, 4. He had a ways to go. We had Amstead playing Winds and Dragons, line number 3, which is north-south with the numbers 8, 9 consecutive in 2 different suits, Kongs. And we were looking at line number 6, 4 flowers, 3, 6, 9. We needed a 6, and then we needed those white dragons. I was hoping for some jokers. But I thought it was a pretty good hand. We had, let's talk about the number of tiles we had when I started calling. We had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tiles. So it was a great time to start calling. I was pretty sure that was the hand I was playing. I wanted to thank you for joining me today. And please remember to use the code CB if you choose to play on ilovemahj. And at the end, the leader was Kurt, and I was in second place, and Annie was in third, and Amstead had 0 points. So overall, not bad. I at least won 1 game, and that's what you always hope for when you play 4, that you win 1. And again, thank you again for joining me and being a supporter of Mah Jongg Class YouTube channel. And I'll catch you next week on Tuesday night at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time for our next video. Bye everybody. Thank you. Have a good night.